everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Points of Articulation. My name's Dave, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. Today I'm looking at the Star Wars X-Wing 2nd Edition Mining Guild TIE Expansion Pack released late 2018. Now this particular TIE Fighter was first seen in Star Wars Rebels, and in my opinion, this is a nice addition to the Scum and Villainy faction of X-Wing. And now for a couple of fun facts. As we can see here, the TIE Fighter's wings are cut. They're missing in the front, and that has a pro and a con. The pro is that the pilot has a better line of sight in the front of the vehicle. That's pretty awesome. Here's the con though. As we all know, the panels on the wings are solar arrays, which make energy for the ship. Therefore, you're losing about, I would say, a good 1/3 of power. So what it has in defensive line of sight, it's losing in power, which kind of stinks. And for another quick fun fact, some may be wondering, how did the Mining Guild even get the TIE Fighter? Well, that came about because of deals made with the Empire. So, to protect the Empire's investment, fighters were given to the Mining Guild to better protect their ships and mining facilities. And quickly getting back to the model, for its size, it's 1.5 inches tall, which may sound small, but it does go great with the other fighters, as we will soon see. So y'all should know how my videos go by now. We're going to take a look at the dials, tokens, the cards, check out the stand, look at the beautiful mold, the paint job, compare it to some other vessels, and then we'll be done, so let's get moving! And now for that dial token roll call. 1 maneuver dial. 3 ship tokens, which are double-sided. 1 evade token. 1 focus token. 2 stress tokens. 1 critical damage marker. 1 charge token. 2 lock tokens, number 10. 1 tracker token. 1 jam token, 1 dial ID token, and finally, 3 ship ID tokens. So that does it for all the dials and tokens. So now let's take a look at the cards. And now starting with the upgrade cards, like always, I will read the title of the card. If you would like to pause the video and read the paragraph and stats below, by all means go ahead and continue when you're done. First up, Elusive, Hull Upgrade, Static Discharge Vanes, Swarm Tactics, and finally, Trick Shot. So that does it for the upgrade cards, and now let's take a quick look at the ship cards. Alright, for the ship cards, first up we have Ahav, Captain Zivor, Foreman Proch, Overseer Yershin, Mining Guild Sentry, and finally Mining Guild Surveyor. Some pretty great artwork on these cards. So that does it for all the ship cards, so now let's take a quick look at the quick build cards. And now looking at those quick build cards, here's the first one, and here's the second one. So that does it for all the dials, tokens, and cards. So now, let's take a look at the stand. And just like other X-Wing ships, you get a nice translucent base and 2 rods you connect together to make 1 large pole. Plug it in like so. Then you want to grab your ship. Remember, be gentle. These can be very fragile. Slide it on like so. And just like that, you're good to go. And now it's time to look at the mold. Like in all my videos, I will go over all the major sections of the vehicle, and then we'll get a nice close-up look to see all those fine details. So we should all know all the major points of a TIE Fighter by now, but if you don't know, we have our wings with our solar array panels, looking good. Our wing brace and converter, looking pretty snazzy. Love the detailing. And that's the same on this side, looking good. We have our pylons, which go all the way around. And then we have our cockpit section right there with our transparent steel viewport with recessed windows, looking good. Laser cannons on the bottom. Cockpit hatch right there, looking pretty sharp. On the back, we have our aft window, as well as 2 ion engines. On the bottom, we have a peg port for our stand. So that covers all the major points of this particular TIE Fighter. So now, let's have a closer look. Alright, having a closer look, let's begin with the wings. We have our beautiful braces, our converter in the center, as well as the solar array panels. Looking very nice. I love the detail here. There we go. Very nicely done, very detailed. And look at the centerpiece. That is amazing. Beautifully done. And then around the converter, we have tons of little modules and raised sections. Very nice. And as you can see, nothing is flat. Looking good. And I like the wing here. Looks very neat. And it looks like it has some meat to it as well. Very thick. And I dig that. Very nice. Now in the interiors, they are the same as the exteriors. Nothing really to write home about at all. Pretty much the same. Then we have our pylon. Looking good. Some nice detailing and molding on there. Pretty sharp. Very similar to other TIE fighters we've looked at thus far. And don't forget the pylon and wing is the same on the other side. It's just mirrored. But again, very nicely done. We can see a little heavy on the black wash, but I dig it. I think it works quite well. You can see all the little raised sections a little better on this one. Pretty sick. Now for the cockpit, we have our raised laser cannons. Paint's a little off right there, but it's not bad. Pretty nice. We have our transparent steel viewport. Looking good. And yes, those windows are recessed in. I love that. Great attention to detail. Coming up, we have our cockpit hatch. Looking great. You can also see the windows are recessed. Looking good. Some nice molding. On the back of the ship, we have our aft window. Looking good. Nice molding. Our ion engines on the sides. Fantastic. On the bottom, some more molding going around. Pretty cool. And then our peg port for the stand. All in all, nice job in my opinion. And that does it for the mold. Now listen, I reviewed tons of TIE fighters, but for some reason, I don't know if it's the unique shape of the wings or the color scheme. I find this to be a fresh breath of air. It really looks great. I love the mold, and I love the paint job. So now let's talk about that. And now it's time for that paint on the Mining Guild TIE Fighter. This baby features 6 different colors. First up is a beautiful yellow, the main color of the ship. And I think it's a nice choice, very unique, very different than what we're used to. That's on the interiors of the wings as well. Very nice. And also on half the pylons and the cockpit. Looking good. And on the bottom. Nice. Now, it isn't just the main color of the ship. It's actually used to detail it as well. So we have a nice caution setup down here. Looking good. And on the top, we have the Mining Guild logo. Painted beautifully. And that's the same on this side as well. Well done. Now, the second color we have is a beautiful glossy black for the solar array wings. And you can see how it reflects light quite well. Pretty nice. That's the same for the interiors as well. Which is a cool job on this one. Beautifully done. Now the glossy black doesn't stop there. It's actually on the transparent steel viewport. Looking good. The windows on a cockpit hatch. And also the aft window. So that's pretty sick. Now another color we have is a nice dark gray on the pylons, the braces, and a lot of data I read says that this is actually a power converter. So basically all the solar panels send the energy here, and then it gets shot down to the pylon, to the ion engines and power systems. So if that's true, that's pretty awesome. But besides the pylons and the wings, it's also on the supports of the viewport. So that's pretty cool. And the aft section next to the rear window and ion engines. Looking good, very nice and clean. Now we also do have normal black in the form of these lines which go from the aft section to the front, and I think it's very nice. It adds a little bit to the fighter. Very cool. And then we have red for the laser cannons in the front, as well as the ion engines in the back. Looking good. And finally, the last color on this TIE Fighter is a beautiful black wash, which fills in all the nooks and crannies and really brings this ship to life. Now in the front, it's not really used that much, but you can see where it makes the detail pop here and there. That's the same for the whole center of the ship. Not really used too much, but just enough. Where it's used pretty well is on the wings right here. You can see where the black is sticking in all those nooks and crannies and really making that hidden detail pop. And that is really nice. You can see the interior as well. Looking good. Just very nice in my opinion. I know some people don't like black wash, but I dig it. It really makes these little miniatures pop, which is great. And that's everything for the paint and mold. So now let's put this baby back on a stand, compare it to some other ships, and then we'll be done. And now for a quick size comparison with the Star Wars X-Wing 2nd Edition Mining Guild TIE expansion seen in the center. We have some other 2nd Edition ships. Firstly, on the left-hand side, we have the First Order TIE Fighter looking good. And then on the right-hand side, we have the original TIE Fighter. You could get that in the 2nd Edition core set, as well as an expansion. I did review that ship before, so if you're interested, I'll put a link in the description below. All in all, some great-looking ships here. And that does it today for my review of the Star Wars X-Wing 2nd Edition Mining Guild TIE Expansion Pack. Now, I said it before and I'll say it again, I reviewed tons of TIE Fighters, and the color scheme and unique mold on this really make it pop in my collection. Now, in this expansion, you get everything you need to add one Mining Guild TIE Fighter to your Scum and Villainy faction. For the mold of this ship, it's great. I really enjoyed it. Yes, it's just another TIE Fighter, but the unique mold on here, it really sells it for me. And I love when we zoomed in close, tons of little raised sections, beautiful molding, just a fantastic job all around. For the paint, simply put, it's fantastic. I love the yellow, the black, everything works for this and it really pops. It reminds me of a Yellow Jacket. So if you're a fan of Imperial ships and TIE Fighters, I fully recommend this. This is a nice piece and it does pop next to the other ships as we saw before. So that's everything I have to say today about the Mining Guild TIE Fighter. I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, hit that like button. And if you'd like to see new reviews every Thursday, subscribe. Again, thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it and I hope to see you next time. Bye everybody.